Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ruchika Pal, Assistant Professor in Suresh Gan Bihar University in the Department of Physiotherapy. Today I will tell you about post-operative period of the amputation. So yeah, in my previous video, we have discussed about the pre-operative training and pre-operative phases and the amputation, causes of the amputation, whatever the clinical features or whatever the process we have to follow for the or assessment we have to follow for the amputation. So in this video, we will discuss about the post-operative period, post-operative complications, deformities, and strength of the whole body, or to improve the balance and transfer, to re-educate walking, and to restore functional independence. So this all will come into the rehabilitation part. So we will go for the aims of the treatment when the patient goes gone through the amputation. Now, what happens after the operated, or what happens after the surgery? So we have to prevent post-operative complications. There are a lot of post-operative complications which can be followed after the amputations. It depends on the vary to vary, or you can send patient to patient, so that the patient will suffer from the different type of amputation also. Or if the amputation is of the bigger part of your body, then the post-operative complications will be more, or it should be prevented by the other methods. Deformities, yes, deformities can occur after the amputation. To control stump edema, as such, we have discussed about the stump sensation and all these things. Stump edema is the commonest thing which occurs, so we have to control over there to maintain the strength of whole body and increase strength of muscle controlling the stump. Now, we need to maintain the strength of whole body for by the doing exercises and other things, and increasing strength of muscles controlling the stump. Now, to maintain general mobility also, to improve balance and transfers, to re-educate walking, to restore functional independence. So this is all about the aims of treatment. We will go through the one by one. Prevention of post-operative complications. Yes, there are a lot of post-operative complications. Now, breathing exercises to prevent respiratory complications. After any surgeries, the physiotherapist will teach the breathing exercises to prevent respiratory complications, as it suffers so easily because of addition or deposition of the sputum, or you can say deposition of the cough, deposition will be there in the lungs. So there is a breathing exercises to prevent respiratory complications. The patient can suffer from that. Brisk ankle and foot exercises for unaffected leg to prevent circulatory complications. Now, ankle and foot exercises. Ankle and foot exercises, as the foot, you will go for the foot ankle to pumps or foot exercises will be there, so that there is no circulatory complications, as the patient will be in the lying position for a long time. So there are circulatory effects will be there in the legs. So that's why we have to prevent the brisk ankle. So we have to go for the brisk foot and foot exercises for unaffected leg to prevent circulatory complications. These exercises are given from first day onward until patient ambulate. So this is the exercises, breathing exercises, and ankle toe pump or ankle foot exercises will be taught to the patient from first day onward until the patient ambulation will be there, or the different type of exercises will be there. So first two exercises are of the breathing exercises and the brisk ankle foot exercises. Positioning in bed. Yes, this is also prevention of deformities is there. So positioning in bed. Stump should be parallel to the unaffected leg without resting on pillow. If the patient undergoes to the amputation of below knee amputation or above knee amputation, the stump, it should be parallel to the unaffected leg. without resting on a pillow. We will not keep the pillow lower down to the stump. Patient should lie as flat as possible and progress to prone lying when drains are out. The patient should be lie on his back on the flat positioning, no knee bending, no other things, and we will progress. The physiotherapist will progress to prone lying when the drainage system, or you can say when the drain pipes are out. Patient with cardiac and respiratory problem may discomfort in prone lying, brought to supine. In some time, when the patient has some cardiac and respiratory problems, they will feel some discomfort in prone lying, so they will go for the supine position, or we will says that we will go for the other conditions in which the patient will not feeling about the breathing will not the breathe out, or you can say will not feel that the patient is not feeling good in the breathing pattern. So these are the amputation. This is the this is, you can say, exercises, or you can say this is the positioning in the bed. Prolonged sitting on soft mattress can predispose to development of hip flexion deformity. The mattress should be stiff, or you can say the mattress should be enough tightened so that they can predispose to development of hip flexion deformity. So there is no prolonged sitting on soft mattress, so that can, if the patient has that that much soft mattress, it can predispose or it can develop the hip flexion deformity. So this is why we will prevent about the prolonged sitting on the soft mattress. Now we will go for the exercise to counteract the deformity. It is the role of physiotherapist very important in after the post operative period, because the patient is under under psychological support or under other things. After the amputation, patient's willpower will be boosted up, or you can say motivated by the physiotherapist, so that what a kind of exercises to counteract the deformity. Strong isometric quadriceps exercises. So these are the strong quadriceps, isometric quadriceps exercises for the below knee amputation. Okay. Now hip extensor and add isometric exercises for the high ankle, high above knee amputation. You can say that hip extensor and abdominal exercises for the low above knee amputation. It is all the exercises which depend upon the type of amputation which you are going through, or the patients which is going through, or the patient which is comfortable in that kind of the amputation. Now progression is made to free, active and resisted stump exercises. What we can do, we will go for the progression in which we will go for the free, active and resisted stump exercises. Stump board in below knee amputation. Stump should be rest on board when sitting in wheelchair. There are a lot of techniques when the patient will ambulate to with a wheelchair. So one technique is that we will follow the stump board. We will keep the stump board in below knee amputation. Stump should be rested on that. Stump should not be hanged around that, and prolonged sitting with knee flex should be avoided. This is all about this. You can see in the diagram, or you can see the modified wheelchair which we will be followed for the ambulation of the post below knee amputation, or you can or for the below knee amputation patient, or for above knee amputation, as the stump is rested on the board. If the patient has wheelchair, we will add on the wooden plank. If the patient doesn't have wheelchair, we will modify the wheelchair according to the patient's height and patient's stump area, so that the patient will not feel the discomfort. This is all about the modification which physiotherapists have to follow, and this the modification will be done by the occupational therapist. So the role of the physiotherapist and occupational therapist is both important in the rehabilitation of the amputation. Now, stump edema. This is the stump, and stump edema usually occurs. So this is the control environment treatment, CET. Here the dressing free stump placed over a clear and sealed plastic sleeve which is attached to a pressure cycle machine, blowing sterile warm air around the wound. The temperature, pressure, and humidity are set with the ideal environment for healing of the stump. The dressing of the free stump, it should be placed over a clear and sealed plastic sleeve. Cleanliness, hygienist should be maintained for the maintenance of the stump, or you can say we will take care of the stump, as the stump has got to have the lot of sensation and other things also. So this is about the dressing of the free stump with place over a clear and sealed plastic sleeve, which is attached to pressure cycle machine. It blow sterile warmed air around the wound for the healing of wound, for the prevention of the infection around the stump, for other things which can occur in with the stump. So because maintenance of the stump is the basic thing, or you can say maintenance of the stump can lead to the you can say healing of the amputated part, or we will go for the different things. So the temperature, pressure, and humidity are set with ideal environment for the healing of stump. That's why it is called the control environment treatment. The control environment is controlled by the pressure cycle machine, which is attached to the stump. It is very much necessary for the to maintain the temperature, pressure, and humidity, as it can leads to the infection. As it if the patient is undergoes due to this, if the patient cannot, if we cannot control the edema, stump edema, or if we cannot control the stump healthiness, that the then we will not go for the or you can say control environment treatment. We will not go for the further procedure for to follow the, you can say, to follow the rehabilitation of the amputation part. Again, the same thing is of the pressure environment treatment. That is the control environment treatment. It is a pressure environment treatment. It is a simple version of CET. Here the air is not sterile, no temperature control, and limited pressure control. It is no, you can say we are maintaining the pressure, or you can say we are only maintaining the pressure. The air is not sterile as such. In this as such in the treatment of the amputated part or rehabilitation, the CET machine is not that much easily available, or you can say it is very much of the costly equipment. So that is the simple version of CET. We are maintaining the only pressure, we are maintaining only the limited pressure, and then there is no sterilization or no temperature control over there. So about the Flowtron also, if we talk about the stump edema to control it, Flowtron, the stump is placed, as the patient's amputated part is this, the stump is placed in an invaginated plastic bag. Air pressure varies rhythmically, compressing and relaxing the stump to reduce edema. Now, this is the air pressure which varies rhythmically. Now it is compressing also, and it is relaxing the stump to reduce edema. It is not that much costlier, or you can say we can, or the patient can, it is manageable for the patient also. It is an invaginated plastic bag. So the stump is maintained by the air pressure, rhythmical air pressure, compressing and relaxing the stump to reduce the edema. We need to reduce edema for the further rehabilitation of the amputated part. Now, to stump compression or socks or bandaging. These are the things which are coming which we apply after the amputation. This the picture is of the Villoni amputation. Stump compression, socks or bandaging Elastic stump compression socks, Zuzo socks. These are very much famous. These are called the Zuzo socks. These are the elastic stump compression socks. Methods reduce edema and conditioning the stump. This is the compression socks, which is the method reduce edema and conditioning the stump. Bandaging is controversial method of controlling stump edema, particularly in vascular patient. Pressure should be firm, even and decreasing pressure proximally. So this is the bandaging is the controversial method, you can say that, of controlling stump edema, particularly in vascular patients. Some patients whom which we apply the bandaging is not, you can say, is not helpful for the controlling the edema over there. Edema is to increase. So that is the bandaging is controversial part. Pressure should be firm, even and decreasing pressure proximally. So this can be maintained, or this should be maintained over there. Some compression socks are there, or bandaging is there. Now, how the bandaging is applied. So this is the, you can say, a practice should be there for the therapist to maintain this bandaging, or it is done by the nursing staff also. Now, stump compression socks or bandaging, diagonal, oblique, and spiral turn should be used rather than circular turns to prevent tourniquet effect. You can see in the diagram, the bandaging is applied in the diagonally, oblique, or spiral turn, so that the circular should not be there, because it will produce the tourniquet effect. Bandage size, upper limb, if the upper limb amputation is there, there is the 4 inches width bandage applied. In lower limb, 6 inches to 8 inch, because the area is always bigger than the comparatively to the upper limb. Above knee, 6 inches, as the thigh area is there. Below knee, 4 inches. Because if we apply more than bandage's size, the bandage will not keep stick to the particular part, or the pressure will not be applied to that particular part. So we have to maintain the width of the bandaging also. Stump compression socks or bandaging. So in above knee bandaging, it should extend up to groin to prevent follicle infection due to friction with socket of prosthesis. As after amputation, or the above knee amputation is there, we will apply prosthetic equipment for the balancing of the body, or you can say patient is able to walk without the crutches. And if the prosthesis which we applied, or which occupational therapist has prepared, or any physiotherapist or any orthopedician will apply to that socket, the stump should be healthier. And what happened into that, when bandaging is there, because bandaging is applied for prevention of the friction with socket of the process, as socket of the processes will fix to the stump, there should be no friction applied. There should be no friction as there, because if the friction is there, the skin abrasions can occur, there is a stump infection can occur, or the other thing will be follicle infection will be there. So we have to extend it up to the bandaging is extended up to the groin level, because the socket of the prosthesis, or the prosthesis ending level, is up to the groin level. So that is why we have to apply the bandaging in a proper manner. It should bandage with hip in extension and adduction. This is also important. The positioning of the in the above knee amputation, the nearby joint is now a hip joint. So hip should be in extension or adduction. If the hip should be in flexion, or in other abduction, or in the other position, the bandaging, if the bandaging will be applied in a proper manner, still the prosthesis, when the prosthesis will be there, the patient is uncomfortable to use the prosthesis. In below knee bandaging, stump should bandage with knee in slight flexion. As below knee When the below knee amputation will be there, the knee joint is still there, and you should be in the the bandaging should be in the slight knee flexion. As such, the movement will be occur easily. You can see in the diagram how the application of the bandaging is there, how the application of the what is the pattern of the application. This is the diagonally, this is the spiral pattern, not in the circular pattern. Stump is should be carefully, we have maintaining the stump. In this first above knee amputation is there, and this second diagram, below diagram, is the below knee amputation is there. So they're totally little bit of the different, as the we are applying over the hip joint also, we are covering the groin part also, and in this we are we are covering the knee joint also. So this is the type of the pattern. It is should be maintained, or you can say the physiotherapist should be properly your physiotherapist should be properly assess the patient, or the patient, you will go for the different type of the amputation cases, and experiences matters in the bandaging also. Maintain body strength and strengthen muscle control stuff. Now strengthening muscles are shoulder extensors or adductors. As I have completed exercises in a previous video also, but we will cover up here also. So we have to maintain body strength, and we have to maintain the strengthen we have to strengthen that muscles which are controlling the stump, either it is above knee or either it is below knee. So strengthening muscles in shoulder extensors and adductors, strengthening will be there. In elbow extensors, by working against weight or spring attached to the bed. Examples: grasp, stretch, lying, shoulder extension and adduction. Grasp, lying in elbow flexion. Sitting push up, this is also for the strengthening of the your shoulder muscles and elbow muscles. Strengthening of crutch muscle is very important. As before ambulation, when the patient is trying to ambulate, we the crutches will be also helpful for the, you can say, for the amputation, for the rehabilitation, or for the walking pattern of the patient. Exercises for unaffected side. Yes, it is also important, as we are maintaining the strength, or we are strengthening our body for preparing our body for the next step, or you can say for the other activities, because as such already that part is affected, or that part is amputated, it is already undergone to the weakness. So we have to maintain our other part to be strengthened, so that the all over the body weight, or the all over the body can be maintained through the through the exercise for the unaffected side, or to the strength of the unaffected side. Now lying. Static quadriceps. These are the quadriceps which we go for the unaffected knee. Static gluteal muscles, straight leg raising SLR, alternate hip and knee bending stretching exercises. So these are the exercises which will go for the unaffected side. Now stump exercises. The stump exercises begins when the drains are out. It gradually progresses from static to free exercise, active then resisted exercises pre. So these are the begins. Stump exercises, it is also maintained by the therapist, or you can say the patient should be undergone for the stump exercises also. But after the draining out, after the healing out of the patient, after the healing of the stump of the patient, begin gradually progress from static to free active then resisted exercises. That is the progressive resistive exercises pre. It you can so go for the when we are the patient is going for the going for the static quadriceps exercises, then up to the free active and then resistive exercises will be there. In below knee amputation, progresses to strengthening against resistance. So this is the below knee amputation X progresses to strengthening against resistance. The strengthening will be maintained against resistance exercises like using the TheraBand, also using the rubber tubes also, and other type of the strengthening equipments. In above knee amputation, prone lying leg lifting against resistance. As you can see in the diagram, the patient is in the prone lying position and the weight is hanging over to the stump. Now the patient is raising the stump or raising the leg. For hip extension will be there. So the weight is maintaining for the resistive exercises. Example, manual resistance also we can apply first, manual resistance, weighted pulley also, spring exercises, tube, TheraBand, etc. So these are the exercises which we will go for the stump exercises, for the resistive exercises to strengthen the to strengthen the stump or to rehabilitate the amputation part. Now we will go for the next slide. Maintain good mobility. Now it is to maintain good mobility. Exercise which moves the shoulder in all direction will maintain shoulder mobility. Okay. So what happened in that? We are maintaining the good mobility. We are maintaining the exercises in which it moves the shoulder in all direction will maintain shoulder mobility. We will go for the all shoulder movements, flexion, extension, adduction, abduction, and the circumduction also, so that we will maintain the shoulder mobility. There is no stiffness will be present in the shoulder. Trunk movements in lying and sitting will improve trunk mobility. So this is the trunk movements which is lying and sitting will improve the trunk mobility. Improve balance and transfers. Yes, balance training should be there in sitting position by encouraging balance reactions, tapping, perturbation, and trunk stabilization will be there. These are the exercises which will go for the balance reactions, balance training, training of transfer techniques. Patient will transfer from wheelchair to bed to wheelchair, wheelchair to toilet, etc. These are the training of the transfer techniques. So specifically these transfer techniques will be taught by the physiotherapist, so that the patient can easily mobilize himself from the you can say from wheelchair to bed or from other parts of the other parts of the home, so that the patient will not feel that he is stick to one place. Though there are a lot of there are the different transfer techniques which should be taught by the physiotherapist to the patient. Walking re-education. Yes, after these all these strengthening exercises, the you can transferring from wheelchair to the, and after applying the prosthesis, now the patient will go for the re-education exercises for walking. It is very much necessary, as the patient will undergo these things further step by step, and for the performing his activities of daily living, to improve his life, to improve his strength of the body, or to improve his to maintain his willpower. Or you can say the patient is very much happy when he will stand on his one leg and the prosthesis. For partial weight bearing in parallel bar using pneumatic post amputation mobility aid, PPAM, 5 to 10-day post operatively. It is the partial weight bearing in parallel bar using pneumatic post amputation mobility aid. Okay, so this is the partial weight bearing. Whenever the patient is re-educating for the walking, what happened in that? patient has one leg which is very much active, or you can say which is strengthened, or which we are maintaining for this by the strengthening exercises. Now there is a partial weight bearing and one equipment which is always already present in the physiotherapy department, that is the parallel bar. These are the two bars, as you can see in the diagram. The patient is holding the two bars, and there is a front, in the front there is a mirror, so the patient can see that how he is standing, or patient can you feel that how I'm standing on the parallel bar, and become being seen in the downward direction, or you can say to the ground. He or she should face the mirror, should go give going for the eye to eye contact. The patient will not re-educate walking while looking down into the ground. So this is the partial weight bearing in the parallel bar using pneumatic post amputation mobility aid. So 5 to 10 day post operatively, patient should follow these things. Patient should wear normal dress and a good walking shoe on unaffected side. Comfortable shoe, non good walking shoe, or you can say the normal dress means the patient should be in the loosen up clothes, not that much loosen up, not too much long, so that if the patient will walk, the patient can tumble down in between the clothes. Patient can see his affected limb and unaffected limb in the mirror. So this is the normal dress. We can go for the ample walking re-education. Initially preferred training in stable surface and progress to unstable surfaces. So initially it should be preferred training in stable surfaces and progresses to unstable surfaces. So first of all, we will go for the walking in stable surfaces, as we don't want patient to be moving the uneven surfaces, so that patient can fall down or the ambulation will be in the difficult stage. Now when the patient has the habit of walking in the different phases, or you can say different stages, so now then the patient will progress to the unstable surfaces or the sticky surfaces, just like in the walking in the mud, to resistive for the walking re-education. It's not like a patient will walk in that condition, but if the patient has to face in his later stages of life in the uneven surfaces, patient should be confident to walk into that surface, so that the patient can easily move or easily go for that, as it is in the walking re-education or in the training procedure after the post-operative period. Pneumatic post-amputation mobility aid, that is the PPAM. It is a partial weight bearing early walking aid. This must only used under clinical supervision in the therapy facility, not for ward or home use. Okay, so it is a partial weight bearing early walking aid. Pneumatic post-amputation mobility aid. Partial weight bearing, early walking aid, that must only use under clinical supervision in the therapy facility, not for ward or home use. This is the facility, or you can say this is the mobility aid which is applied to the patient in the department or under the supervision of the physiotherapist, so that patient can walk onto this. As the patient will walk in the parallel bar, it should not be given to the home for the for the patient, as it is not very much comfortable for the floor at the home, and the home does not have facility of the, you can say, of parallel bar at home. It can use from 5 to 7 post operatively while the suture are still in the wound. It is the, you can say, we can use it after the 5 to 7 post operatively while the suture is also there in the wound, or you can say stump is also in the that condition. So but the patient cannot apply it at home, as the patient can go for the different things. PPM. Now what is the advantages of this aid? There is only one question arises in the patient's mind: after amputation, how I will walk? Or is it the condition that I can walk after the amputation? So in this is the very much great psychological boost up, or you can say it is the boost gained by walking soon after amputation. After amputation, within a week, within a 5 to 7 days, patient is standing on his feet with the help of this aid. So this will boost up his willpower, his psychological support will be there, or the patient has one doubt, which is that he can walk or not, that can be cleared by this step. Reduction of edema by pressure in bag. The bag which I have shown you in this, it should be the reduction of edema will be there by pressure in bag. Postural reaction are re-educated by encouraging partial weight bearing. Reaction will be there as the patient is in the lying position or in the sitting position after that, or on the wheelchair. Postural reaction are re-educated or by encouraging partial weight bearing will be there on the one limb. So that can leads to the postural reaction, or it is the re-education. It is in the encouraging part also. Preparation of the residual limb for hard socket of a prosthesis. This is the aid which is applied previously, not the hard socket. It is its socket is not that much hard because the already sutures are there, but it is the preparation of the residual limb for hard socket of the processes. This may help in reducing phantom sensation. Okay, phantom sensation. I have already mentioned that phantom pain and phantom sensation is there in the stump part, or is there in the that is it is the, you can say that affected limb which is amputated will be there. So that will be reduced by the phantom, this aid. This is the advantage. Now, what is the disadvantage on everything has advantage and disadvantage. The first we have discussed the advantage. Now, second we will discuss the disadvantages. Now, if a fixed flexion contracture is present, the residual limb is more liable to break down. Now, if we talk about the fixed flexion contracture, FFC, if it is present, the residual limb is more liable to break down. It is a flexion contraction. First of all, the contraction should not be there in the stump. Now, the residual limb is more liable to break down if this contracture is present. There is, you can say it contract. This contracture can also appear after the applying of this aid. If the amputee is very heavy or heavy-footed gait, excessive pistoning may occur and there will be insufficient support. This is the you can say very commonly problem that patient weight is not helping for the, if the patient is obese, or if the patient weight is increased after the amputation or after the surgery, then this will not helpful for the walking re-education, and this walking aid cannot supported for, cannot go for that support which we want to give to the patient. Amputees use a stiff knee gait pattern, which is unnaturally for those with the transtibial level. Generally, after amputation, these patients use a stiff knee gait pattern as the knee got stiffed, or which is unnatural for those with the transtibial level. So this is unnatural, or you can say which is not good for the gait training. The inflation pressure may greater than the arterial pressure. Now this is the inflation pressure which may be greater than the arterial pressure in the residual limb. This is also not good because inflation pressure is there. The pressure inside that stump is more than the arterial pressure in the residual limb. So that can lead to the that can lead to the your walking re-education in the you can say it will stabilize, or you can say it will go the lower down to the walking re-education. Now, walking without a prosthesis. So, using a firm compressive socks or bandages, the gait training can be done parallel bar. Now, if we walk without a prosthesis, Now, what is you? We will use the firm compression socks or bandaging. The grade 10 can be done in a parallel bar in the department. Progress to a frame or crutch depending on the stability. Now, prosthesis is not applied. Now, the patient is walking on his one leg. So, the frame, walking frame will be there, or you can say a crutch will be there for the depend for the stability. So we will progress it to the crutch training, crutch walking training. Crutch user found less adaptation time to user prosthesis. When the patient undergoes through the crutch or walking training through the crutch, they found the less adaptation time to use the prosthesis because already one limb is strong now. They are walking on the crutches. Now when the prosthesis is applied, they can furtherly move towards to the walking pattern. Normal alignment of pelvis and reciprocal movement of stump should maintain. Now this is the normal alignment of pelvis will be there, and the reciprocal movement of stump should maintain for the walking pattern. So this is all about the helping of the crutches, or we are moving, we are training the patient, or when the patient is walking without a prosthesis. Now, principles of bandaging of stump. We are bandaging the stump. Now, we have to follow some principles for the bandaging. Pressure of bandage should be moderately firm, evenly distributed, decrease proximally, extra pressure over the corners, making the conical shape as we have seen in the diagram. Pattern of bandage, it should be diagonal, oblique, or spiral, so that or not circular, as the tourniquet syndrome will be there. So we have to follow this pattern, and we have to maintain the pressure of bandage should be like this: moderately firm, evenly distributed, decreasing proximally, extra pressure over the corners. Now it comes to the prosthetic stage. So we will we have completed all these parts about this. So this is regarding your and pre post operative period of the bandaging. Now we will move forward to the multiple choice questions. So this is the multiple choice questions to evaluate our study, or to evaluate our topic. Now, which of the following best defines residual limb pain? Pain which persists beyond 1 year after amputation, pain in the part of the limb which has been amputated, pain in the part of the limb that remains following amputation, pain which does not respond to pain medication. So, if we talk about the residual limb pain, then the residual limb pain will be the pain in part of the limb which has been amputated. So this occurs in the limb which goes for the amputation part. So this is we can go for the residual pain. It's just like uh, in the amputation part. So this residual pain, we can go for that. This is the post amputation pain. It is a term that includes residual pain or stump, residual limb or stump pain, phantom limb pain also, phantom limb sensation. We also said that. So the estimate, we can go for that. The residual pain lasts. How long does the residual pain last? The length of the time this pain lasts differ from person to person. It can last from seconds to minutes, also to hours to days. For most people, it diminishes in both frequency and duration during the first 6 months, but many continue to experience some levels of these sensations. So, this is about the residual pain. Why is physical therapy typically started as soon as the for possible after amputation. As I have told you in this video, it is associated with the best possible functioning of the limb. It has been shown to reduce PTSD. It is linked to decrease risk of falling. It tends to reduce overall pain. As such, if we compare, all four factors are involved in for the physical therapy, but it is for us much more importantly, it is comparatively, if we talk about that, the correct answer is that it is associated with the best possible functioning of the limb. So this is should be maintained by the physical therapy pain. Which of the following is the most common reason for amputation? Traumatic injury, poor blood flow, infection, and chronic pain. Somewhat poor blood flow can be maintained by medicines. Infection can be also maintained by medicine. Chronic pain is also maintained by medicine. When the traumatic injury occurs, the sometimes emergency condition, in emergency condition, the patient has gone under through the amputation for the saving of his life. Now, when the patient asks when he should expect to be up and walking after his below knee amputation, the nurses assure him that most amputees are fully weight bearing within 3 weeks, within 1 month, within 6 weeks, or within 3 months. As we have talked, or as we have discussed, that after 5 to 7 days we are applying the walking aid or prosthetic aid. Pre-gait training is given to the patient, but here we are asking about that fully weight bearing. There is the partial weight bearing. So when the partial weight bearing is there, so we will go for the 3 months, as it completed all the things, strengthening exercises, our gait training and other things. So the patient can go for the walking. So this is the fully weight bearing walking will be after 3 months. The nurse conducting the safety seminar reminds the audience that upper extremity amputation is most frequently caused by trauma, and that the highest incidence of this is school age girls, school age boys, young men, young women. So the answer is the young men, as the male ratio is more in the affected part, or you can say in the other things. So this is about the amputations multiple choice questions for the post operative period of for this video. So you will go for the other things in the books also. You can refer the book J Maheshwari and Suzanne O'Sullivan for the rehabilitation of this for amputation. So this is the part which we have concluded over the. You can go for the other things. So now the post operative period, if you have any doubt, you can drop your message in the comment box. So, as if we are concluding of the post-operative period or the rehabilitation processes of the, then the loss of a lower limb can have severe implications for a person's mobility and ability to perform activities of daily living. This negatively impacts their participation and integration into society. Now, the ultimate goal of rehabilitation after limb loss is to ambulate successfully with the use of a prosthesis and to return to a high level of social integration. Prosthetic rehabilitation is a complex task that ideally requires input from a transdisciplinary rehabilitation team. However, most often physiotherapists are in charge of the physical rehabilitation process. So this is, you can say, a conclusion of a amputee rehabilitation, or we will count the phases are also there: preoperative amputee amputation surgery or the reconstruction surgery, acute post surgical, pre prosthetic prescription, prosthetic training is there, community integration is also there, in which the resumption of roles in family and community activities, emotional equilibrium and healthy coping strategies, recreational activities are also there, vocational rehabilitation, in which the assess and plan vocational activities for the future, may need further education, training or job modification, follow up, lifelong prosthetic is there, functional medical assessment and emotional support should be there. So throughout all these phases, a rehabilitation treatment plan is utilized to guide the care of an individual who has undergone an amputation. Treatment plan is also based on evaluation by all specialties involved in the rehabilitation process and act as a guide for all team members to address goals important to the patient and family also. Level of rehabilitation intervention is contemplated from the date of admission to the hospital and determined after the amputation surgery and prior to discharge from the hospital. Now, the rehabilitation process includes now ongoing medical assessment of impairments, therapy interventions to address disability by the activity limitations. So, there are a lot of things which we can go for the post-operative period or post-operative rehabilitation program in the physiotherapy field. So this is all about the post-operative rehabilitation part. This is the second part of the amputation. Now we will go for now in the next my next video. We will go for the third part of the amputation. So subscribe the channel and thank you so much. This is Dr. Ruchika Pal, Assistant Professor in Suresh Kan Bihar University, Physiotherapy Department. Thank you.